So today I want to talk a little bit about our Christian lives because there's two ways that we can have it. A lot of people, there's like I think maybe over 2 billion people that are Christian now, right? They say they're Christian. There's two ways to put this. So with our Christian lives, there's a grace-based Christian life and there's a performance-based Christian life. One is through grace and one is through theory, right? So like for example, we can say whenever we like sin because we're all sinners still, but God saved us by what he did on the cross, right? So that's grace based. But when we go on the Bible, if we use that as an excuse to keep on sinning and keep on doing it, that's performance based. Because we're using these words just as an excuse so we can do whatever we want. That's not right. And performance based is philosophy based, and we shouldn't be alternating between grace and performance based, right? Because those two don't work out well. What we should be doing is focusing on a grace base. And to have a grace based Christian life is based on our living fellowship with Jesus and our wisdom from the Bible, right? Because a true Christian life is a Christian life that has a living fellowship, right? And if we live grace-based, then we will be a great leader, right? Because Jesus was a great leader, and when we have a fellowship with Jesus, all we think about is Jesus. All we like our what's guiding our lives is the Bible and what Jesus is, right? So we have to influence ourselves to go to God, and we can't influence ourselves to go performance-based, right? And if we have a grace-based Christian life, right? Then we can influence other people to follow Christ as well, right? Because grace-based is experience-based as well. Performance-based, again, it's just based on the Bible. If we're talking to an unbeliever who's like really stubborn, they're gonna just keep asking us questions. And if we have a grace-based Christian life, then we can actually influence them with our experiences. Performance-based, we can only list the Bible, but if they ask, what did Jesus do in your life? You can't say anything, right? So that's why it's important that we live a grace-based Christian life. And so if we follow Jesus in the way that God has desired us and made it for us to follow him, then we will experience a lot of prosperous things and our lives will be blessed. When we think about answers, for example, when I was in the exam, I was thinking about the test answers and how I'm going to answer this question. If we don't know the answer within 5 minutes of thinking, that means we just don't know the answer, right? Um, that's why part of a grace-based Christian life is making mistakes. Now, how do these two relate? Well, part of our mistakes is when we don't think about things, we can do things really carelessly, right? When we don't have the word, when we don't have the fellowship with Jesus, then we don't know the answer, and then we'll start making mistakes, right? And if we make these mistakes, we should be able to learn from them. We shouldn't be going to the Bible and saying it's okay because God has forgiven me and just do this again and again and again. We should just follow what God has desired us to do. And we should just follow the word and not make that same mistake again. What they say at school is it's okay to make mistakes because that's how you learn, right? But for a performance-based Christian life, if we're making mistakes and we're deciding not to learn, then we're not going to go anywhere. Right? So we should learn from our mistakes and we shouldn't have pride in our mistakes, right? We should, because that pride is what will lead us to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and again, right? So we should receive the word and then we should use it to our advantage. Whenever we make mistakes, we should learn from it so then we can have a grace-based Christian life. And we have to receive everything from God by faith. right? Faith is a whole important part of our Christian lives, right? It's not about the size of your faith. You could have the faith as big to move the mountain, right? Or as big as the mountain. You have faith as a mustard seed. What did Jesus say? A mustard seed, right? That's so tiny. That little faith is enough, right? That little faith is enough to do marvelous wonders, right? So God called us to have dominion over everything. And in order to have dominion over everything, we have to have faith, right? And then that leads back to our living fellowship and our grace-based Christian life, right? It goes have faith, and then that faith will help your living fellowship. That living fellowship will influence your entire grace-based Christian life, right? It's all a whole cycle. We just have to follow the steps God has aligned clearly for us, right? Now I'm gonna talk about Adam and Eve for a second. So when God gave Eden, it was supposed to be a physical garden, but now it's known as a spiritual garden. Why? Because Adam ate the fruit. Why? He ate the fruit because he was influenced by the devil. And the first sin was not that it was not that Adam ate the a apple, right? It was what the devil did. The devil was lied and then told Adam that he's gonna be like God, right? But God never said that. That's what the apple does, right? So he got deceived. That was the first lie that happened in the Bible, the first sin, right? And because of this, God used Adam to um like basically God used Adam to show what sin is, and then that's why he sent Jesus. We call Jesus the new Adam, right? Because Adam he had everything. He had what we would all want right now. If we could talk to God immediately and he answers, like if I'm talking to God like I talk to Mother Auntie, she'll answer immediately. He had that. He had that. Everyone wants that, right? But he lost that because he got deceived by the devil. That's why Jesus came, so we can have that experience again. When we go to have our living fellowship, when we go to pray with God, we can go talk to God and we know we're going to receive an answer. We go to God with expectations because we know that we're going to receive it. Because God is for us, He's not against us, right? And anything He does will be for us. And so when we spend time with the Word, when we spend time understanding the knowledge that's in the Bible, it will turn into wisdom. And that wisdom will guide our grace-based Christian lives, right? If we go back to performance-based, we'll only have the understanding and knowledge. We won't have the wisdom, right? What is wisdom? The application of our knowledge, right? Being able to apply it in our lives is one of the big things in our grace-based Christian lives. But if we don't apply it, then we just have theory to use to influence others and to influence ourselves to just keep making mistakes over and over again, right? So wisdom is important. Having faith is important in order to guide our Christian lives and our grace-based Christian lives, so that we can experience blessings and prosper. That's all I have.